is that it?
Hi, I'm Uncle Mark. Welcome to the channel. Just gonna replace a battery in a Dodge Journey, or if you have the Fiat version, it'll be the Fiat Freemont. It's a little tricky to do, but you can watch and see if it's something you want to try or not. I'm sure you can save yourself some money by doing it yourself. So where's the battery? Open the hood. Should we do that? No, let's maybe look at the tire. Why would we do that? Well, because the battery actually is behind there. It's in the inner fender well. I'm going to show you where I'm going to jack it up here. This mount right there is what I'm going to put the jack under. Yeah, right there. Sometimes you can put it under there too, but I like this one because there's a bolt in the middle and that just seems to be a little more secure for my floor jack. You want to use something like that. And I'm just going to jack it up with that bolt in the middle of this cup that's on the bottom of the jack. And jack it up nice. And I didn't jack it up all the way because I want the wheel still on the ground so I can loosen these bolts a little bit. I'm just going to do a couple of them. Well, I'm going to do them all, but just enough to just have them snug but loose. I'm having some issues here. This vehicle, for some reason, has, well, the nuts are two different sizes. It should be 19 millimeter, that's what I'm using. But I guess they've rusted a little bit and the chrome is swollen. So I'll need like a 20 or 21 to try and get the rest of them out. I'm going to suggest that maybe a different, like replace these nuts, the ones that are a problem. So I could just see, a person stuck on the side of the road and you've got your lug nut wrench that's factory with the vehicle and you can't get them on a couple nuts. The person would be pretty ticked, especially if you had a spare. That could get you out of a jam. I'm sure on a few of these other wheels, it's the same issue. Oh well. So, got that one off and a few others. Let me speed it up here a little bit. You know how the wheel comes off. So let's get you nice and close and you can see what's going on. Now this plastic cover here has a couple of these little clips. I'm using actually a door panel tool to get this off. It's two pieces. Just got to pull the top one away from the bottom one and just pull it out just about that far. And then the thing should come out. It's actually pushing a couple little fingers when it's pushed in that locks it in place. Oh, this one's going to give me a little bit of trouble. Probably full of dirt. I sprayed it with a little bit of WD-40 to hopefully help it move a little easier, but yeah, didn't work out so well. These only go in one way if you end up pulling it all the way out. And this is what it looks like. It spreads these fingers apart when you push that piece in the middle. Otherwise, and that's what holds it in there. There's one up here as well. Pop that out again, just move the middle out. And then, remove the other piece. Sometimes they can be kind of stubborn. As you can see, there's a little slot there. You can help pry it from either side. Maybe you might have to use two screwdrivers. This door panel tool, I'll put in a link in the description if you want to get one of these. I use this a lot. You'll see this is so handy, and they're not worth a whole lot of money. And basically, there we go, that's out. So they may be a little stubborn. Might have to fight a little bit with them. There's one beside it, and maybe we should have left that big one to the left here in, just because this flops around a lot when you're trying to take it out. So maybe, save yourself a little bit of trouble. Keep that big one to the left there in until you get these little guys out. And these were a lot of fun to get out too. But it just took time. Hopefully you don't break any. If you do, and you don't want to, but if you do, you can maybe get them at an auto parts store. Just bring a good one with you. You can probably get them from your Chrysler dealer, but they'd probably be very expensive. There's probably some aftermarket ones out of there. They'd be a little cheaper. And it's the same kind of thing. That centerpiece, which only goes in one way, spreads the fingers, and it holds it in. So I'll get this one out as well. Speed it up. You can see I'm having nothing but a little fight. I sprayed a little bit of WD-40 on it. That kind of helped it come out a little bit better. This vehicle will need lots of gravel, and it's an older vehicle already. What else we have here is two more. I'm going to spray them just to hopefully help them slide a little more. They should, if they're fairly clean, slide out. But of course, this is under in a wheel well. Lots of dirt, crud that gets in there. This bottom one will be a little more tricky as it's going into another plastic piece or another shield. Speed it up for you. You'll see that I had a little bit of trouble with this too. Some skippable chapters. You can go on to the next section if you want, if you've done this far. Otherwise, give me another second here and we'll have her done. Yes, well, at least you see some of the issues that I had. So this piece should just pop out, and guess what? There's the battery. So positive and negative, I'm going to just spray them with a little bit of anti-seize, some kind of lubricant, not WD-40. Well, I guess you could, but that stuff works better for other situations. If you really need a good penetrating oil, I would suggest use something else. A little clipper you want to pull out, and then you should be able to squeeze it, and I'll unplug. Not really sure what that does. Probably monitors the battery. Then 10 millimeter nut will get the negative off. I suggest you do that first. Negative always first. I'm using a swivel head ratcheting wrench. See if I can maybe find some and put some in a link. These I got here in Canada from a source that isn't a sponsor, so I'm not going to say who it was. They're pretty good though. And this, try and pop it away. I just don't want it touching a negative. Well, I don't want to touch the battery. We'll sit it there. Same thing, 10 millimeter on the positive. Pull that off. These ratcheting ones work really well. While we're getting this out, I might as well do a plug for the channel. I also have a playlist on this vehicle. If you want to see more videos on it, and I'll try and add more and more to the playlist. This is a 13 millimeter. It's a hold down for the battery. Get that off of there. It's quite a long threaded piece here to get the bolt off, but it comes off. And I dropped it. This plastic piece should just come out. I'm trying to get this rod out of here too. It's got a hook on the bottom. Trying to figure out which way. Not much room here. It would come out if I could tilt it that far, but it's some wiggling and jiggling, and finally it looks like it's out. Now you see what it looks like for when we put it back in. Just trying to figure out now how this hold down comes out of here. And it's hooked in the back as well. I think the guy just needs to twist it and do something similar to what we did with the other hold down in the front. Again, not a whole lot of room, but tried moving the battery a little bit. Figured if I can jiggle it all and get the battery out, I can figure out how it goes in later. There's a little wall that this thing's got to just climb over. So I'm using a little tool there again to get it out. Door panel tool. Screwdriver would work. It's going to be a little bit heavy, so both hands. Pulling it on the post there just to grab it. It's kind of slippery. And I don't know what they weigh, but I want to be careful. I have to take a look and see how that goes and which way it goes. I'm holding it actually upside down here. I didn't realize that in the camera. So it's going to have to go in and flip over, but we'll figure that out later, right? And it just goes to the hole. So I'm going to vacuum this tray out just because there's a whole bunch of dirt and junk in here that they seem to fill up with. Clean that up a little bit, can't hurt. Call it good enough. And I just did this to show you how to take the battery out. I'm using the same battery, but let's pretend it's new. Can't hurt to just clean the posts up a little bit. If you have a post cleaner, I'll try and put one in the description. They're not very expensive. And back in it goes. Lots of fun trying to get it out. Lots of fun putting it back in. Now we'll get that tie down and figure out how that's going to go back in the holder in the back. Now I am holding it upside down, not realizing that, taking a look at my viewfinder. So I actually sat it in upside down. You're gonna have to flip it around anyway, which I do eventually figure out. So I'm trying to hook it in there. There's got to be an easier way to do this. But you saw the hole in the back, so all you have to do is just fiddle around with it till you get it in there. And then we'll try and put that one in the bottom again. This one should just pop in like that. It'll give you a whole lot of room. Well, that's where it's going. So again, it's going to be one of those things you just have to wiggle and wiggle till you get it in there. You'll know once it's hooked in, and that looks good. All we have to do is line up this top part, sit it on there, and remember which way is right side up and which way is upside down. For a while here. Maybe if a person had an extra set of hands, maybe a guy could have hooked that in first, this top support, or mount, and then, you know, somebody else could have put the battery in. But that's the way it's going to sit. Of course, I got one hand and I'm holding the camera, so maybe we'll set you down here and you can see how this is done. I'm going to spray this too with a little bit of, I've got some anti-rust stuff, the lube, just to make it easier for next time. If we still have this vehicle, screw the nut back on. This was a 13 millimeter, right? Put that down, that was that 13 millimeter again. Snug it up. I'm gonna make it fairly snug, but don't want to break anything. I'll be banging around here for a few years and you won't see it. Positive on first and tighten it up with that 10 millimeter. Make it fairly snug. And we'll do negative, same thing. It's a little trickier to get on and trickier to tighten, but you've had it off, so you should be able to just reverse the process, tighten it up, and it sure makes it a lot easier with this little ratcheting wrench, but it's not like it's impossible. Then snap this connector back on. Should be good. You may want to test it. Terminal protector, I'm going to spray a little bit of this on. It just kind of keeps them from corroding a little bit. Since, again, you can't really see this without taking the wheel well, that plastic liner out. Whereas normally batteries you can kind of see just by looking at them. So this probably won't be looked at until there's a problem again. So I sprayed some on both of them. I'm just going to clean up some residue I had on the side here. And it's time to put the inner fender well back on. Just trying to figure out which way this goes. I think it goes that way. Up into here, get those plastic clips, put them back in. You see the way the top fingers sit. I'm going to do this one first. You may want to spray them with something just to help out a little bit. These were not that easy to get in for some reason. Not really sure why. Wow. Take two hands. Do the other one on the other end, of course. Not rocket science. And again, you understand how these work. Well, this one's kind of mangled looking. That's going to be fun putting it back in. That's probably why I was having problems with it. Eventually I got it in. Now we can move on to those bigger ones. Try and line it up. Same kind of thing. And these might not go on as easily as you'd like, so WD-40 won't hurt. Spray them a little bit. When they're new, they slide really nice, so I don't think the WD-40 is going to be a problem. Do this one too. And we're just about done. I'll have some concluding comments here right away. And yeah, that's the way they should go in. Have we missed any? Oh, got one towards the bottom here, yep. That one and that one looks like a little rough shape, but if it falls out, I'll get another one. And then the bottom one too. Yeah. All we have to do is stick the tire back on, snug up the bolts, and then use a torque wrench, torque them down. I'm not really sure what the specs are supposed to be. I'm going to do 110 foot-pounds in a star pattern. And oh my, I had problems with that couple lug nuts here that remember they were swollen. Gonna have to write that down, see how many they need. Somebody's gonna be stuck. So, like most things, even a battery is not the easiest thing to change anymore. Chrysler or Dodge has been doing this for a few years now in some of their vehicles, but I guess, you know, running out of space, stuff gets smaller. Where do you put the battery? Anyway, I got it done, and hopefully you did too. If you liked the video, please give me the thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that, you know, it was good content. You can also subscribe down in the corner. That link should be working now, right on the end. And how about a playlist too on the Dodge Journey, or if you have the Fiat version, the Freemont. Blue circle, yellow flashing arrow points to a card way at the top there. That's where the playlist will be. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Until next time, I'm Uncle Mark saying you and your family stay safe. Be careful while you're working. Please subscribe and you'll get all the notifications. It's easy. The little dog will show you how. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Easy thing. Focus. There we go, but I don't know how good that is. Let's try it anyway. Well, hopefully you kind of figured that there was an issue because you didn't know where the battery was, or